All right, blessings. This is Jaia, Guru without an ashram. So, I wanted to talk about something that over the years has been a real challenge and also a real opportunity. When people ask me, what do you do? And that I even went into different marketing and business programs in what would be termed as the conscious business marketplace, which are mini videos in itself to share if anything comes in to share around those. I'm guided to. But what I found in that process, there was a few different things, and one was a term that came through a soul success coach. And there's even a video. I went on a morning program, How to Live Your Mission Impossible Life. And those things are still true. Probably do another video just on that alone. And maybe I'll put that in the description area, link to that video. But when something came in around being a spiritual midwife, and this resonated more than probably anything else, and there was a truth to it in terms of, you don't go to a midwife unless you're pregnant. And the people that have had the most, I would say, the most transformation, the most success, the most where they really opened to the spiritual levels more and were able to solve issues in their lives and really make changes, were ones who were pretty deep in that process. And so one of the things that can happen when you're in that process is, you know, different areas of your life can be reflecting things to you, including your physical health. And if you go into the modern medical world, including mental health, as I bring up on this channel, you'll have a disease model, and there won't be any talk of or any awareness, right? It's just not brought in. It's not part of that world, you could say, and that paradigm or that perspective that something deep within you is emerging, right? You're transitioning into another level of consciousness. You're self-actualizing, right? Some of your potentials and gifts. And your current um, life and the way that it's set up and your current belief system, your current level of awareness is not in harmony with what's trying to come through. So this term of being a spiritual midwife is really what it happens a lot of times, that the gifts will come through if they haven't already started to, right? They'll start to come through at another level or more consistently, or there's just more awareness of the process and the things that need to change, and then those little changes that need to be made begin to happen, right? Another level of ability of how to have conversations and just the awareness of who you are in a much more expanded way. So I draw from my own experience of having gifts like healing abilities come through, like the music and writing songs, which was never something I studied or practiced or knew how to do, started happening, started occurring. I had written poems since I was very, very, very young. I had to go and look up some of the words in the dictionary. They really just came through from that place. And then they always rhymed, and the words always fit. And it was always just this sort of magical feeling around that process. And so I find that other people start going through that process. And So having support in that area, rather than we have this symptom going on and we're going to just try to suppress that symptom, like there really might be something that's trying to come through, that's trying to be born. And another whole entire awareness of being able to draw that through. And it was very inspiring to hear someone share their story of getting to the other side of a pretty intense experience and a diagnosis of 15 years of being on medications, and then through, as she put it, as stubbornness and being angry is what helped her most of get through some pretty severe withdrawal symptoms, and getting to the other side of it where it's really not, she doesn't think of herself anymore as something that's broken needing to be fixed or as a patient, and has gotten completely to the other side. And so to be able to hear those stories and to have her mention something around, there needs to be potentially more spiritual counselors, right, that are addressing and that are there to help for those, and this is important, for those who want to go in that direction and are guided to go in that direction, right? Really important. You're not going to go to a midwife. Maybe you're going through a midlife something and it's being diagnosed. But you're not going to go through to a midwife unless you're pregnant. In the same way, you're not going to go to a spiritual counselor, a guru, whatever name you would want to put on this, a soul success coach, unless you realize that that potentially there's something that's coming through, that is emerging, that there's a transformation that's happening potentially, and you want to bring that next level of who you are and the awareness that who you are is a whole, complete, eternal, dynamic, beautiful being with incredible potentials, and that you're here to bring those forward in service. And it's a very different model. It's a different way to look at yourself. But I will say, I a lot of times things come through like that, like it just happened, and it's part of how it happens. The midlife, right? There used to be the awareness of something called a midlife crisis. And it used to be handled in a very different way, in terms of, okay, I've got to come to the reconciliation that I'm in this point in my life. And the classic example of someone getting a young person's car and driving around in that, or trying to reconcile it in ways that are not going to really get to the heart of things. And I think about today's world and how much has changed in terms of how these kinds of things are dealt with, as someone gets through it, and then you go through your 40th birthday and you have the balloons that are black balloons, and it's, over the hill, and it's kind of a joke. But, coming to different stages of life, there are changes that happen, and potentially a wisdom that comes through, and potentially things that you grow into and grow from according to your own unique purpose. And that is a process. And in today's world, someone really going through that change, and those changes, and whatever resistance shows up or however it's dealt with, would think that one of the things that would be people going to would be medications, like something's wrong with you. Instead of, this is a process that you're going through right now. And maybe you do want to talk to someone about it that knows about these things and that can help you to see things from a different angle, and become aware of certain things, and grow through this experience. Something that I heard is there is now in the DSM a teenage rebellion disorder. And anything that can be put into a disorder or a dis-ease model, then you have the solution. If it's a disease, then it needs a drug. And how much has changed in this whole dynamic. So I am so grateful. I think, what is the book called? I don't have it here in front of me. Let's see if I can pull it up, and I'll put a link to that video in this video, and in the description part of the video. May cause side effects. I think that's the name of the book. And she and others on this panel talk about things very, I would say, intelligently, and from a way to come at a much more expanded understanding and awareness of these things. And as she brought up, again, it was the part in the video that I noticed for myself, even though the other parts were very informative and make you think, and make you sit back and become aware of certain dynamics and certain things. That part of the video where she mentioned the self-actualization process, that she later realized more of looking at it from that angle was helpful to her, and realizing that model is a completely different model and a completely different way of looking at things rather than the disease model. So, soul success coach, midwife of the soul. And if that is speaking to you, and if you would like to go beyond the disease model, if that is a potential for you, and if you are being called to it, and if you are aware that something's coming through, then please connect with me, and we'll see if it's a good match to assist in bringing that the divine child that you are, and also the divinity, and the beauty and the joy that is truth about each being, seeing if that is something that's coming forward, and that's actually part of the issue itself, and if that can be a solution.